The last step to assertive discipline is to have consequences in place. So when a student misbehaves, the first thing we want to do is deal calmly and quickly. So if we yell at a student or we take a long time explaining to them in front of everyone what they're doing wrong, then students feel a lot of shame and they quickly disengage from class, and that's not the point of student management. The next thing to think about is that we should have a hierarchy for the consequences. So using myself as an example, at the 2:30 class, I am the nicest teacher. I just had lunch and I'm really rested. And so maybe I might give students 10 chances before I finally ask them to stop. However, at 6:30, now I'm starting to get hungry and I'm tired, and maybe a student misbehaves one time and I send them to the desk teacher. Well, that also isn't fair to students. So in order to deal with misbehaviors appropriately, then we need to have planned consequences already put in place. So sometimes your schools might have a plan, or you might have a plan that you know of that you want to use. But in the case that you don't, we want to give you an example that we found to be effective in April schools. So using this plan here, when a student misbehaves, the first thing that you want to do is give them a verbal warning. If the student misbehaves again for any reason, you should write their name on the board and then give them an X. If they were to misbehave for any other reason, you then give them a second X. Now, a quick note regarding this visual consequence is that students have an opportunity to decide if they want to continue misbehaving or not. So students feel that this is really fair. Now, if the student were to get a third X, it is time for them to have more serious discipline. But since we have to teach, what we can do is send the students to the desk teachers. But in order for the desk teachers to help the students, they're going to need some information. So what we can do is use this discipline checklist here. So upon students receiving their third X, what you want to do is check off whatever misbehaviors they were doing in class. If it's not on this list, then you can write it in. The student will then take this to the desk teacher where they can talk about what they did wrong, why it's upsetting to you, and also how they can fix this misbehavior. And if this was to happen on many different occasions, then the desk teachers could call the parents and inform them that the students are misbehaving during class. So this plan here is something that students understand, and because they think it's fair, we can really teach students how to follow our expectations. So if this is a plan that you consider using in your classroom, then you can download this checklist from the resources in our training material. Now I'm going to show you a few other example systems that you could use. So on the left here, this really is the same system that we just showed you, except students' names would be on these clothespins. But since we have so many students, what you would want to do is just write numbers, and the desks would also have numbers on them. So then students could keep track of where they are within behavior in class. This is just another concept. Here we have the numbers. Again, the desks have numbers, and you can move it up or down based on their behavior. So within your mock and feedback sessions, you are going to do some student management role playing where you actually need to deal with the misbehavior. So what we're asking of you is that you either use your own system so that we can all learn from you, or you adopt this system that we just showed you so that when you go to your actual classroom, you have a plan in place. And with that, you should have successful student management.